Before we begin, viewer discretion is strongly advised. What you're about to hear isn't fiction, it's real federal courtroom testimony. Word for word, taken from the ongoing trial of Sean Diddy Combs. A trial that's unraveling more than just a celebrity's reputation. It's dismantling an empire from within. What could possibly make a judge clear an entire courtroom in seconds? What truth did Diddy's own daughters carry that sent a man known for power, fame, and control into a visible panic? It began in silence. Two girls, Jessie and Diddy, 17-year-old twin daughters, entered the courtroom in black pantsuits, their heads high, their eyes cold. They didn't glance at the man sitting at the defense table, their father. He looked up, expecting support. Instead, he saw two witnesses who had come to speak not for him, but against him. The courtroom held its breath as the twins were sworn. Diddy's lawyer rushed to the judge, whispering urgently. Documents were exchanged. The judge's eyes scanned the pages, then his face changed. Without warning, he ordered all media and observers out. Courtroom cleared. The doors slammed shut. What had been written in those statements that forced such a drastic move? Inside, behind closed doors, the truth came forward, calmly, directly. Jessie reportedly said, "We've prepared statements of our own, not the ones we were given to memorize." Her voice didn't shake. Neither did her sisters, because this wasn't emotion, it was resolve. The courtroom had already heard weeks of dark, disturbing testimony, but nothing prepared it for this. Diddy, known for carefully curating his image as a doting father and mogul, sat watching it all crumble, whispering to his attorneys, trying to catch their attention. But they didn't look back. They were done performing. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed as the twins exited. Flanked by their aunt, the woman who's raised them since their mother, Kim Porter, passed away in 2018. They said nothing, they walked with steel in their posture. And they vanished into a black SUV with tinted windows, leaving behind a stunned press corps. So what pushed them to this? Was it the years of silence, the hidden pain, the weight of growing up in a world built on image, silence, and fear? Sean Combs isn't just a mogul. He's a brand, a legacy, a man who built a fortress of success and locked his own family inside it. This trial has revealed accusations of racketeering, assault, sex trafficking, and more. But this moment, this betrayal, was never about the charges. It was about control. And what happens when the people you try to control finally stop cooperating? For years, Diddy's image was crafted through glossy photos, staged videos, and carefully worded interviews. A father of 7, a king of culture. But behind it all, something was rotting. And today, it surfaced in a courtroom full of lawyers, press, and power. It was to teenage girls who brought everything to a standstill. Not with anger, not with tears, but with truth. What makes a daughter stand against her father in public? What makes two sisters risk everything, family, fame, even safety? Was it justice or survival? This isn't just testimony, it's a reckoning. And what they revealed behind those closed doors may forever change how we view not just Diddy, but the entire facade of celebrity family life. More is coming, and this was just the beginning. If this left you speechless, stay close, because what's coming next? The media still won't touch. We will. Before anyone spoke, the room already knew something was off. The twins walked in like no one expected, shoulders back, eyes forward, their expressions unreadable. Not once did they look at their father. Some in the gallery noticed right away. Something big was about to happen. The judge raised an eyebrow. Diddy, who until now had maintained a calm, calculated presence, leaned forward in his chair. Visibly unsettled, no smiles, no nods of reassurance. No silent exchange of trust between father and daughters. Just two girls walking straight toward the stand, carrying something heavier than words. "Your Honor," Jessie began, her voice steadier than anyone expected from a 17-year-old in a federal courtroom. "My sister and I have prepared statements we'd like to submit to the court." Their attorney walked to the bench and handed over a set of documents. What happened next sent shockwaves through the courtroom. The judge read the pages, looked up sharply, and called both legal teams forward. An intense, whispered sidebar unfolded. Diddy's lawyer, animated and visibly distressed. The prosecutor, silent and firm. The judge cut through the tension with a single command. The courtroom will be cleared. All media, all spectators. Court officers, please remove everyone except for family members and essential personnel. Gasps, movement, confusion. Reporters were escorted out, but the last image they saw as the doors closed. Diddy half standing, mouth open, seemingly in protest or panic, while his daughters sat quietly, hands folded, waiting for the truth to begin. What happened behind those sealed doors was pieced together from transcripts and insider accounts, and what it revealed was a story the world was never meant to hear. Raised in extreme privilege jets, luxury vacations, celebrity access, the twins had grown up inside a carefully maintained illusion. But that illusion began to crack in 2018 when their mother, Kim Porter, was found dead in her home at 47. From that moment, their world quietly shifted. They were 11, and suddenly their care became a rotating door nannies, family members, occasional time with Diddy between his travels and infamous parties. Our father made sure everyone saw him as the perfect dad after Mom died, Delilah testified. The tributes, the posts, the interviews, but the cameras never followed us home. According to court records, the girls described life in a home where certain doors were off limits. We weren't allowed near the East Wing, the pool house, the lower level list, especially during parties, Jesse said. We were told it was grown-up business. We were told not to ask questions. Over time, the twins began to notice patterns. Young women would arrive, excited, hopeful. Then, days later, they'd leave. Quiet, distant, often upset. When we were 14, Delilah recalled, we found a girl crying in the bathroom during a party. She looked just a little older than us. She said she wanted to go home. We told security. We never saw her again. They tried to ask questions. They were told to mind their business. Phones were monitored, social media restricted, interviews prescripted. We became props, Jesse said. Smiles for the cameras, photos for Father's Day. Then back to our rooms, or whatever relative was watching us that month. As they entered their teenage years, headlines about their father started circulating. And when they asked about them, they were met with one sentence: family protects family, no exceptions. No discussion, but the final breaking point came later when Diddy confiscated their phones after discovering private texts between the girls and their friends discussing the allegations. Against him, their social media was shut down. They were removed from his home, sent to live with family, told to lay low until the heat passed. That separation became a turning point. Private journal entries turned into formal statements. Secretly prepared with the help of their maternal Aunt Kim, Porter's sister and an attorney she contacted without Diddy's knowledge, what they'd seen, what they'd experienced. They were done hiding it. We've kept silent most of our lives, Jesse told the court. We've smiled for the press, said the right things, posted what we were told, but that doesn't change what we lived through. And then they turned just slightly toward their father. You did, Jesse said. They described how their father had gathered all his children in early 2023 at his Los Angeles mansion. He told us the lawsuits were lies, Delilah explained, that jealous people were trying to take him down, that blood meant loyalty. He had the script ready. He spoke about powerful black men being targeted, about injustice and false narratives, Jesse testified. And while that happens to many men in our community, he was using real injustice to hide behind his own actions. As more lawsuits came, his efforts ramped up. They were asked to post family photos, write captions, use exact hashtags, follow the narrative. Best dad ever, my hero. Just spending time with family, Delilah said. But it wasn't real. It was branding. Then came the most disturbing discovery. Spring break, 2022. While looking for a charger in Diddy's Miami home office, normally off limits, they stumbled across a monitor, a live feed, cameras, everywhere, bedrooms, private areas, all under constant surveillance. We asked the house staff, Jesse said. She just said, your father likes to keep track of everything in his homes. They began to realize the truth wasn't just whispered, it was recorded. They told the court about women brought in for auditions or meetings, then offered alcohol or pills. They saw the aftermath, the confusion, the tears. There was this one woman. Minutes later, she came out crying. One of the security guards blocked us, told us to go to our rooms. Gifts arrived later. iPads, designer clothes, tuition promises, paired with the same reminders. Remember who takes care of this family. He never had to threaten us, Jesse said. The message was always clear. Our comfort depended on his image staying perfect. But when Kim Porter died, the mask slipped up, according to their testimony. When Diddy received the call, his first reaction wasn't heartbreak, it was strategy. Before he even told us Mom had passed, Delilah said, voice cracking, we heard him on the phone, calling his PR team, and that was the beginning of the end. Make sure there's nothing in the house before the police arrive. That was the first thing they heard him say. Not, are the girls okay? Not, what happened? We were sitting right there, Jesse testified, and he was already thinking about protecting himself before he even told us our mom was gone. After Kim Porter's sudden death, the house filled with people. But it wasn't grief they brought, it was panic. Meetings, phone calls, rapid instructions. The girls recalled how strangest people they didn't recognize were sent to their mother's home. Not to mourn, not to help, but to secure her devices. He was terrified of what she might have left behind. And that was just the beginning. Inside that courtroom, silence took on weight as the twins laid bare the years that followed. A slow, devastating portrait of control. Not just over them, but over everyone in Diddy's orbit. Artists, employees, women, staff, even his own children. We're not here because we hate our father, Delilah said firmly. We're here because we finally understand that love should never require silence. And family shouldn't mean covering up harm. Had weaponized fatherhood, turning it into a shield, a disguise, a performance. Behind closed doors, their testimony continued. They described how their father's homes weren't just secured, they were locked down like surveillance bunkers. NDAs were standard even for tutors and babysitters. Phones were collected. During certain gatherings, electronic sweeps were done regularly for hidden devices. This wasn't about security, Jesse testified. It was about control. Nothing left the walls unless he approved it. Even the staff were isolated from one another. Different cities had different teams. No overlap, no shared knowledge. We had a nanny we loved when we were 12. Delilah recalled one day, she was just gone. We were told it was a family emergency. Years later, we found out she'd been fired for asking questions about the parties. It wasn't just the adults. Even the siblings, the children Diddy had from multiple relationships, were kept apart. We barely knew our other siblings. Growing up, Jesse said, we'd see them at Christmas, birthday parties, events that were really just photo shoots. It wasn't until we were older that we started connecting for real and comparing stories. After their mother's death, the twins were used to rebuild Diddy's image. They were pulled from school for a last-minute red carpet appearances. Whenever a lawsuit or negative press hit, the PR machine switched on. Suddenly, we'd be all over his Instagram, Delilah testified. Father-daughter dates, game nights, throwback pics with mom, comments flooded in, best dad ever, you're so lucky. But it was all scheduled, the captions, the hashtags, all written by his team. Even their friends were vetted. We couldn't just have normal teenage friendships, Jesse explained. Anyone who got close to us, their parents were checked. Connections to media flagged. They needed to be loyal or clueless. We weren't just being watched, we were being handled. But nothing stunned the court more than what the twins called the loyalty tests. Situations engineered, they believed, to check whether they could keep secrets. It was open to a text thread with a woman saying he promised to help her career. In exchange for favors, they didn't touch the phone. They didn't speak, just saw what was already on the screen. When Diddy returned, he asked calmly, "Did you see anything on my phone?" We said no, Jesse added. Not because we were hiding anything, but because we didn't want conflict. He smiled. "That's what I like to hear," he said. "Family protects family." That night, both girls received a $5,000 shopping allowance. It was a test, Jesse said. He already knew what was on that screen. He was checking if we'd tell anyone or keep it quiet. As they got older, the tests escalated. More secrets, more rewards, more silence. We started to understand, Delilah said. The schools, the vacations, the clothes. It all came at a price. The price was loyalty, which really meant blindness. See nothing, hear nothing, say nothing. Eventually, they tried to speak. They texted each other, privately questioning some of the accusations, wondering aloud what was true. Then he confronted them. He had screenshots, Jessie said, her voice tight. Screenshots of our private messages. He said security had flagged them for their safety. But they knew better.